Florida. What a special place to fish for me. I just remember camping back and the trees back there, the cypress, the cypress trees and the moss hanging off of them, and the docks, and you got over-tired guys in there that are all just me 30-40 years down the road, and they pull up on their golf carts and they sit around the fire and they're solving little problems, I promise you, and then some. And sometimes if we get an off day or something's cool, sit down with a cup of coffee, them guys just listen. My time to not do any talking. Fishing in Florida can be so good, it can be so bad. It's a fickle beast. I don't think you can ever learn enough about the sport. So even though we don't have a tournament going on right now, I'm still down here taking the time and going out with my buddy Bill Coles, been a friend of mine for a long time. Him and I both started our careers a few years ago at roughly the same time. I wanted to be a pro bass fisherman, and Bill wants to be a badass videographer and a photographer, and that's exactly what he's doing now. And it was fun. We both kind of got to help each other through our career and keep going, and now we're just kind of getting going, and we're still doing that for each other, pushing each other and striving for greatness in what we're doing. And we do what we do, man. We go around, try to find different ways to catch bass here, try to catch big ones. It is Florida. There's giants down here. It's an awesome place to fish, and even when it's not fishing good, you still need to figure out how to catch them. So we hit Kissimmee one day. We went around, hit a couple of my local little holes around here, little lakes that I've over the years just had success on. And it seems like every day we do something different. This time was no different. It took us a day. We had a solid day on Kissimmee, but it took us a while. We didn't really get any true big bites, kind of one here, one there, just trying to figure out what Florida was doing.
Yeah, I can see him. Was it chewing on dead alligator?
Yeah, it is. That's great. Day, we really started to get into them, and it was awesome, man. I mean, if we started out winding things, just moving water. I learned in Florida you got to find some fish. Everything looks so good. I mean, you're gonna see throughout this video all the habitat, the bass habitat that's around. Everything in Florida just looks so good that it can be hard. I remember the first time I came to Kissimmee and somebody told me to go fish the lily pads. Literally, that's what they told me to do, go fish the lily pads. And I thought, okay, that's cool, I'm gonna do that. And then the lily pads, it looks like Lake Mille Lacs and rocks, like somebody telling you just to go fish the rocks on Lake Mille Lacs, There's more to it, there's subtleties, and Florida's no different. Caught a ton of fish on any kind of a dipper bait or a little swim bait. We were throwing those around pretty heavy. It's such a versatile bait. You can cover, we were fishing hydrilla pads over the top of mats, open water, just an awesome bait, through the Kissimmee grass, stuff like that. I use a bunch of different ones, this is this one I think is a Gambler one. Reaction and Ovation makes one that I use quite a bit. Got to prototype some new baits for BioVex. That was fun. Caught a bunch of fish on this. I'll be able to talk about this one a little bit more. throwing this one a bunch. It's got a Daiwa Zillion. It's got the T-Wing technology in it. This is the 7-speed reel, awesome reel. And this is probably my favorite all-around Daiwa rod. I got so many of them, but this rod is so versatile. I have like 5 of them. This is the Daiwa Zillion. It's a 7.3 medium heavy. I use these a bunch. It's got some action to it, you know. It's got plenty of backbone, but I can make long casts with it, and I just keep them pinned. I throw speed worms on this thing, spinner baits. You can throw spinner baits, light Carolina rigs, dipper style baits. Like I said, speed worms, rattle traps, whatever you want. I mean, it's just such a Texas rig rod, such a versatile setup. It's awesome for that. I was throwing this dipper right here. I'm using a little Rains tungsten. They make the best tungsten. We'll talk about that when we get into punching a little bit. But these Rains weights, it's just an eighth. You know, just something to get that nose to fall at the tail, do its deal when I kill it in holes. The setup, I've come just dialed with this setup. I absolutely love it. I use it a ton when I'm in Florida. I can't have enough of them. This is the Daiwa Steez AGS. This is the 8-foot heavy action rod, plenty of rod. I can get them fish and still get that good hook set and have the backbone to get them out of the absolute thickest stuff. So just a little Rains tungsten on there, your favorite swim bait on it. Here I'm using the Daiwa 103, the SV 103, awesome reel, 7-9 gear ratio, picks them up quick. It's a flip and pitch and just all around, you know, reel for heavy winching, anything I got to do to get them out of the grass. Awesome setup right here. Dude, what was up with that fish jumping out of the water? I remember just sitting here and looking over my shoulder really quick and seeing a bass jump. You weren't even in that vicinity, and then you set the hook. I thought the world was coming to an end. I didn't know what was happening. I flinched hard twice.
I legitimately think there was an alligator under there chasing that bass.
There had to have been something, because I've never seen nothing like that in my life.
I thought
things were getting silly though. The front was coming in. Yeah. It was cloudy. It was windy, and you could see the front coming.
Well, what's weird is then that frog got smoked.
Yeah, as soon as the frog bite picked up. Frog bite was pretty. You couldn't really find it, and then all of a sudden that kind of triggered you to grab the frog, and you started catching them on the frog. What happened right in front of you? The camera definitely got it. Definitely. Nice.
It was that, or he was saying hello, I think.
Yeah.
Just jumping out of the water, just, hey guys.
Hey.
Let me scare the shit out of
It was a good one too.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was huge.
It reminds me of like a bad tournament, and all of a sudden a 4-pounder just jumps for no reason in front of you, and you're like,
you haven't had a bite in 3 hours.
No. Those fish, they know you're there, you know, they know you're coming. You have to be stealthy in Florida. It's vegetation everywhere. They can hear the trolling motor. They can hear the braid coming through the mat. And that brings me to my next thing, flipping. You know, we had a great couple days on moving baits, moving things through the grass like that, finding the holes. Day 3, of course, in Florida fashion, everything changes. You know, we went to another lake, right away got on the water, started winding things, doing everything we could. The temp was definitely down into the mid-60s, strong winds. Caught a few bucks, a few small ones, really wasn't putting nothing together, and all of a sudden we kind of found in the lily pads where some hyacinth mats had started to blow in. You know, we used the wind to our advantage, found an area that was buffered really well, kept the water super clear. That's hugely important when you're down here in Florida. It had a big hydrilla flat out in front of it, kept that water nice and clean, and the wind was blowing into that direction. We'd get into the pads and let the wind just kind of blow us through there, and we'd come across these hyacinth mats. They're just starting to open up. Some of them were beautiful. Some of them looked like they were almost dying at first. I wasn't quite sure what was going on, and I think they were actually ones that were just starting to sprout out from the actual hyacinth bulb, you know, and turning into the plant that it is. And man, those females, they were there heavy. In a few hour stretch, Bill and I each caught a couple giants, some nice fish in between there. Probably my favorite thing to do when I'm in Florida. I can get pretty hard ADD towards it too, and even when it's maybe what I shouldn't be doing, I'm still trying to make it work because it just catches big ones, and I've some of my biggest fish down here in Florida. It's just awesome. We collided with the fish yet again. We caught both numbers and we caught a lot of giants, worked our way up to probably about another 27, 28 pound bag throughout the day, and we did it all with this right here. Again, I'm using that Rains, and my bait of choice here is the Rains Punching Predator. It's one of my favorites. You'll see it works. The big girls absolutely like it. It doesn't get held up in those hyacinth mats at all. One little trick here is I like to do 2 peg stops. It seems to help that big weight from sliding up and getting caught up in the mat. Basically, hit up, get in those lily pads, some trial and some error, you know, trying to move around, trying to figure out what the best way to be quiet. No doubt about it, using them power poles, putting the power poles down, and just working for it. You know, you might have a lot of thick areas of vegetation that's just going to take that Minn Kota trolling motor and put it through the work trying to get back there. But that's what it takes in Florida. Then you get back there and you be quiet, you be stealthy, and you flip everything that looks good, and this state will reward you with it. Hoping it pays off. You know, this is the life of a professional fisherman. This is what we're doing when we're not fishing tournaments. Good tournament, bad tournament, it don't matter to me. I mean it does, obviously, but I'm still fishing. I mean, you have a bad tournament, I just can't wait to get on the water the next day to get the taste out of my mouth. I have a good tournament, well, you're just as good as your last tournament. So right back on the water to learn. And every year I found myself getting a little bit better, coming down to states like Florida and different ones, just spending time, having fun. I had my good buddy Bill with me. It was awesome to have him on the deck of the boat. This footage is awesome, his drone up in the air. This is my life. This is what I absolutely love to do, whether I'm tournament fishing or not. This is what it's all about. And great trip, awesome time on the water. Get yourself down to Florida. You're up in my neck of the woods, Minnesota. It's gonna be a pretty depressing place if you're a bass fisherman this time of year. And you can see around me, it's pretty awesome here. Palm trees, flip-flops, and big bass. I think that's Camp Mack's pretty cool because I think that's where I want to retire when I'm old. I don't know what Brees thinks about that, but she seems pretty game. She wants to run around in this truck of ours, this Duramax, and sleep next to me and that thing. So.